Hello student, today we'll be discussing about popularity of the lives of the poets. या फिर इस तरीके से जॉनसन्स कंट्रीब्यूशन टू आर्ट ऑफ द बायोग्राफी. फर्स्ट पॉइंट है डॉक्टर जॉनसन एज द फर्स्ट ग्रेट इंग्लिश बायोग्राफर. Johnson is one of the greatest biographers of England, and his fame as a biographer rests on the lives of the poets. The Life of the Poets is not only the most popular book of the kind in the language, it is also a book of real and permanent value. No short lives have ever equaled them. Nicholson claims that the doctor was the founder of the art of biography in England. He was the first man of letters deliberately to isolate and exploit this art. He regarded biography to stand midway between the falsehood of fiction and the useless truth of history. Next is his qualification for the task. The various qualities of head and heart with which Johnson was gifted eminently fitted him for the task of a biographer and contributed so much of the success of these lives. The more important of these qualities may be listed as follows. In the case of the life of Savage, his knowledge was derived from close personal intimacy, and the case of the various lives of the poets, he had unrivaled knowledge of the literary history of England. Since the Restoration up to his own day, this knowledge was derived from books, from traditions, and from the talk of those who had personally known the life concerned. The lives of the poets covers nearly a century, and as Valley puts it, Johnson belonged wholeheartedly to the century, lived in it, knew it more intimately perhaps than any other man, believed in it and loved it. In the case of Life of Savage, his knowledge was derived from close personal intimacy, and the case of various lives of the poets, he had unrivaled knowledge of the literary history of England since the Restoration up to his own day. This knowledge was derived from books, from tradition, and from the talk of those who had personally known the life concerned. The lives of the poets covered nearly a century, and as Valley puts it, Johnson belonged wholeheartedly to the century, lived in it, knew it more intimately perhaps than any other man, believed in it and loved it. In short, he was in full sympathy with the poets with whom he had to deal with. Next, the original plans of the lives. All these qualifications and many more of the biographer combine to makes the lives of the poets a great monument and landmark in English literature. This immense success and popularity is all the more surprising when we remember that this memorable work was not initiated or planned by Johnson himself. He did not have a free hand in the choice of the poets with whom he had to deal. Some booksellers of London wanted to bring out an edition of the English poets from Cowley downwards, and they approached Johnson to write short biographical sketches to each of the poets selected. 48 poets were included in their list, and to these Johnson added four names more. He had originally planned to give each life a few dates and a general character, but the work swelled in his hands and became the longer and the most memorable of his works. Next, its defects. Because Johnson did not have a free hand in the choice of poets, the life suffered from one serious drawback. They deal largely with poets in whom nobody now takes any interest. In its 3 volumes, Johnson gives us biographical and critical studies of 52 poets, or these only 6 are now considered of first-rate importance. The 30 or more that remain are dozen are of second-rate importance. The 30 or more that remain are mostly poets of whom the ordinary reader of today has never read, and if he is wise, will never read a single line. Next, the critical part, its inferiority. Another shortcoming of the work rises from the alleged inferiority of its critical portions. Johnson's criticism of poetry is often marred by his prejudices, often extra literary and personal dogmatism and incapacity. Music and imagination are the most essential qualities of poetry, and Johnson had no ear and he had no imagination. Indeed, such higher qualities sometimes irritated his prejudices. His opinion of Lycidas is well known. He found it easy, vulgar, and therefore disgusting. Of the songs in Comus, he remarks they are harsh in their dictions and not very musical in their members. He remains blind to the passionate intensity of Donne and the elevation of Gray. Next, as repository of truth and wisdom. The Lives is a matchless repository of truth and wisdom. The various lives are crowded with good sayings. We quote only a few examples to illustrate the point. Men have been wise in different moods, but they have always laughed the same way. What is fit for everything can fit nothing well. Each one of his sayings is loaded with meaning. They are thought-provoking and suggest rich themes for friendly debate. Indeed, as Lee points out, the Lives shows at its best his power of putting into a single sentence all that can profitably be said on a single subject, whatever we may, by way of summary or of comment. His strong common sense is to be noticed in all his sayings. Sometimes he takes an almost mischievous delight in judging poetical situation by the standard of common sense and daily practice. Next, the charm of Johnson's personality. The Lives share the charm of Johnson's personality. It abounds in personal reminiscences and reflects light at many points on the Doctor's own character and career. Boswell has done a great service to the cause of literature. He has immortalized the great dictator, and in his pages we meet him as he really was, living and actual. But in Boswell's biography, the shadow of the writer is falling across the pages. Everything is tinged more or less by his hero worship, and Johnson tends to grow a bit distant and remote. Next, the life of Savage is greatness. Johnson had a very natural tendency to interpret the lives and the characters of other poets by the likeness of his own. The merit of his life of Milton, as also of other lives, arises from the fact that it is a story of struggle, distress, and suffering told by one who himself wore through life a heavy burden of travel with equal patience and fortitude. Similarity of a trial, similarity of endurance, and similarity of temper make the life of Savage separated from other lives by a period of over 35 years. One of the finest lives in the collection, the life is based largely on personal acquaintance. The two had been intimate during days of adversity and extreme poetry. Next है conclusion. Johnson has been vigorously accused of prejudice and unfairness of certain English poets. It is true that he does not offer unmixed praise to any of the poets. He has constantly balancing merits and demerits and avoiding praise or blame accordingly. But he does not stop at this. He sets himself to show the reason of things by a process of detailed criticism and analysis. So that this book is more than history, is a philosophy of letter. The Life of Savage is a religious apology for the poet temperament, the truest and the most human apology that has ever been written or conceived.